You are getting a huge fee for him. And this thing about contracts as well, obviously all the Newcastle fans chanting greedy bastard. If it was all about money and greed, he would have gone to Al Hilal for 750 grand a week.
Yeah, but that is a big change. I mean, that is a big life change.
But if it was all about money, would he not have done that? And I'm not being funny. If you'd have got 250 million from Al Hilal for Isak, you'd be waving him off. And you wouldn't give a monkeys about the situation. And that's the reality of it. It's just the fact that he's going to a rival within the Premier League, and you feel as though it's a situation where he's let the club down, and he has.
Yeah, but that's a fair issue.
He's got his own agenda. Yeah, it is. But it's all about agenda. Like, here's another good example. Here's another good example. Rasmus Højlund was left out of the Man United squad yesterday for the Arsenal game. All right, he's got 3 years left on his contract. Man United have said, not good enough, you go and find another club. So why doesn't Rasmus Højlund have the entitlement to say, well, I've still got 3 years left on my contract. You should honour that contract and work with me and try and improve me and still play me. It just doesn't work like that.
No, but they still have to pay his money, Ben. They still have to pay his wages.
Yeah, they do, yeah. But they've told him
as long as he turns up for trading. Yeah,
but they've told him that he's not playing. But Isak doesn't want to sit in the reserves for Newcastle. He wants to win stuff.
But that's his choice, isn't it? No, but that's his choice. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean that's what I said.
So if you don't sign 2 players this summer, he stays. Yeah. If you don't sign a player next January or next summer, does he stay again then?
Well, see, we're starting to get into the thing, Ben, where it becomes.
Question.
No. Listen, you're fine. You can say whatever you want. I'm saying we're starting to get into the thing of Liverpool, trying to dictate what Newcastle United is going to do, and they're almost cheerleading that we get 2 signings because that means we're going to roll over and give him Isak. And I don't think that is what I think. Every fan in the Premier League that's interested in Isak going to Liverpool, and I'm telling you, it's not just Liverpool fans, as crazy as it sounds, don't have an understanding really of how this ownership works. They seem, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, at the end of the day, it's up to the club, because to do what they want. I guess it is. There's no right or wrong answer in my opinion. Just like Brentford is doing what they want. It's frustrating, but they're doing what they want. So, but they're failing to understand that this ownership seem not bothered for him to sit on the bench. They're not bothered. Now
that's not healthy for the Newcastle. For Newcastle, is it?
Is it not? Because to the extent of what Isak has done, you can't come back from. And so does that set a precedent to say all I got to do is do what Isak has done to the club? I mean, that's going far. That is going really far. He didn't just say, hey, listen, man, I want to leave, transfer request, or not transfer request, I want to leave. Please do everything possible. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave. They probably would have worked out different, but he's gone to extremes to leave. And I think you sets a precedent for, I guess, people not wanting to join us, but it also sets a precedent for players wanting to come here and then wanting to leave whenever they want. That means all they have to do is, not train with the team, exile themselves somewhere else. And I think that is a dangerous precedent. And you wouldn't like that if somebody done that to Liverpool.
No,
like you didn't like Steven Gerrard handing in a transfer request over there back in 2005 or so. So he
was better than us though. He was too.
No, but he wasn't better. No, hold on. Let me get to ads super chat, and then you have a response to that. £10 from ads. Thank you very much, mate. If Liverpool really want Isak, just put up an offer and move on. Isak, Liverpool and his agent have been a disgrace. Newcastle have to make a statement and sell him abroad, not to Liverpool, and give in. I mean, it almost feels like this whole situation, Ben, it leads like we wouldn't want to make the statement of selling them to Liverpool and abandoning for Liverpool. I mean, it makes no sense to a certain extent.
This whole thing is about pride. That's what it is. But the reality is Newcastle are, as much as you don't want to wear it, you are a stepping stone club at this point in your time. That's it. Same way as we were for years ago when we had to bend the knee to Manchester City and to Chelsea. That is where you're at.
You've never been that, Ben. Come on now. Don't sugarcoat it now. Liverpool's always been a massive club after the 70s or so. You guys been a massive club. You've always been competing Although you haven't won a title since the 2019 thing, I appreciate your Champions League. That's something that I actually defend more than most people. But you've never been a club that's suffering all of a sudden because people want your players. Don't play that down. Don't play your club down.
We've sold lots of players, though. We've sold lots of players.
Go on, Ben. I mean, sorry, Andy Bell.
Not only that, I mean, he's right. We are in a position in the food chain. It's just fact. However, the pride part comes back to just because you're in lower down the food chain doesn't mean they should have to give up your principles and your pride to give in to a player that hasn't got the savvy or the backbone to go to his manager and tell him he's going to go to Spain. He didn't even tell his manager. There's a way, like you said before, there's a way to conduct yourself.
Totally agree.
For me, Steven Gerrard was open and honest about everything. He went, I want to leave. Everyone knew. He told Rafa Benitez, he told Gerard Houllier.
But you won the Champions League. How are you a stepping stone club that had to suffer?
Because we went in a position to win the league. We went challengers for the title. That was probably the worst team that won the Champions League. We had Jimmy Traore at left back. It was a miracle. It was the miracle of Istanbul. We weren't a great team. We had one world-class player in Steven Gerrard. That was it. That Javi Alonso as well.
Didi
was on the verge of. And Didi was pretty good as well.
Had Isak come out originally and made a public statement and said, look, I've enjoyed my time over at Newcastle. I've fulfilled the promise that I said I was going to do and provided a trophy. I'm hoping that the club provide the promise that they gave to me and said,
that's about it.
Allow you to leave. That hasn't happened. I'm sure a lot of the fans would have reluctant. He bit the tongue and said, do you know what it is? At least he's come out and he's been honest.
Yeah,
good luck.
That would have been
Andy,
fine.
can I counter?
We would have still said, not a problem.
As long as we get
Everybody comes up with 150 million.
That's it. Exactly.
Listen, every player that comes to every club is a gamble. You know, we went out there and paid 63 points, some odd, nearly 64 million for this kid. If he'd have come and couldn't hit a barn door, then, you know, we would be still having to pay the £1,400 a week for him to sit on the bench and watch, because that's how contracts work. And this is the problem. It's all player pushed. And unfortunately, as Andy's just said, it's all the fact that he's being guided down the wrong path by his agents. Now, again, we could all sit here and say, you know, it's all going to sort out. I heard literally at the start of all this that on the table, apparently, and again, this has come from a Liverpool source, there's 130 plus 10. Now, you've already done the 80 plus 60, was it? As part of 80 mil up front with another 60 million next season. There was that one. Then there was the 120, which was obviously dissed. Then there was the low ball at the 110. But again, I think this is just to keep Isak motivated to do what he's doing. Because if Isak slows down, the club stop looking for players to replace him. And what Isak doesn't want is to be at Newcastle. He wants the move. So the more he plays hardball with the club, the more motivated the club are to go out there and get a player. So if the club had any inkling whatsoever that Liverpool weren't going to come in with a sensible offer, because I don't think it'll be 150, but if you've paid, was it 117 million for Wirtz?
Yeah, 116, yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you paid that amount for Wirtz, who he's a world-class player, but he ain't going to score you 20 goals a season. So you've got to ask yourself, if he's worth that, then how much are you willing to pay and put down on a guy in your squad that should be equal in Haaland, if not more? You know, and this is what I'm saying. If you look at all the niggly bits, he's been nominated for the PGA Player of the Year, and he's not even turning up for these events. That's how much this has affected him, and how much of a prat that he's been, when even being nominated for a serious accolade as an individual, if you're saying he wants to go and prove things and win things, this is something that he's been nominated for and he can't be asked to turn up.
Yeah. But so if he's acting like that, is it not fair to assume that what has he been promised for him to just suddenly behave like this?
Nothing will. Go on, Phil.
Like this whole thing about no one's heard about this promise until now, and the only time the same week, the same day, Wissa kicked off about his promise from Brentford, which Brentford acknowledged. Then you hear Isak through his agent speaking to Ben Jacobs, speaking to Alex Crook, all of a sudden, there's a promise. There's a promise. There was never in these last 6 months about any promise from Newcastle about letting him leave. In fact, Melissa Reddy, God bless her soul, came and started telling everybody, Isak told Newcastle, I'm leaving.
Thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. You can watch more videos here. You can also subscribe to our following channels here, our extra channel for NUFC Talk TV, this channel, of course, and also to RCM Football, where we put Premier League content there. So if you're a neutral fan, subscribe to that one, and everybody subscribe to those channels, of course. Don't forget to smash the like button, become a member to enjoy better and more content, all access to our videos if you become a member. Thank you very much indeed for your support. This is Chris the American Mag. I'll see you on the next one.